It's time that we protect our families. Here in Canada, we have the most lovely country in the world, where everybody can be at peace, regardless of your religion, your sexual orientation, and everything under the sun. Just so happens that Israel is also like that. It just so happens that if you are gay and you don't support Israel, then it means that you forgot Tel Aviv. You forgot that the first gay rights in human history came out of Israel. And you also forgot that they are the only people who are, in the end, regardless of their religion, is going to support you to live freely. But that's not the topic. The topic is, who is attacking you today? And why did they almost kill a 17-year-old boy by letting a car on fire with him inside? Good question. I bet you want to know. It seems that the government of Canada does not care about the Canadian citizens. It seems that the police force and the government of Canada does not care about the Canadian citizens. They are not willing to protect them, to the point where the RCMP neglected to hold a Section 81 on not only Mohammed Khan, but the two other individuals that Mohammed Khan was working with. If you don't know who Mohammed Khan is a terrorist. He was a 20-year-old boy who came here last year, who came here claiming that he was gay, looking for sanctuary. That's how much they make fun of the homosexuals here, and how much they think it's easy to come into Canada, because it relatively is. However, this boy came in on a mission, welcomed by two jihadists, and then brought down to Armstown to get arrested. The RCMP held no charges and hold no charges against him today. Now I want you guys to realize something. I need you to realize something very big. These bombs were made in front of the Université de Montréal, UDM. These bombs were created in front of the Université de Montréal, in an apartment building that is literally 10 feet away from the Université de Montréal. So it's not, how would you call it? There's no surprise when you understand that the majority of these protesters are being influenced by propagandists in the Université de Montréal. And our students are being taken advantage of. Our students, who are supposed to be doctors and lawyers of the future, are now officially terrorist sympathizers who are killing kids because they set a car on fire with a 17-year-old boy inside of it. Now, my Canadian citizens, my American friends, we have this simple time where we get to decide. Do we allow it to continue? Or do we stop it? The police are not willing to stop it. And we know very well that we have the power to. Peacefully, resourcefully, and to allow it to not ever happen again. It is in our responsibility as Canadian citizens to hold our charters accountable and to keep them alive and free. You have to realize that the Arab people from 2012 are not the same refugees that came in 2018. The Muslim people of 2012 are not the same refugees that came in 2024. There are two different separate groups of people. People that came here as real refugees, and people that came here to commit terrorist actions. You have to realize that there are two very different groups of Muslims in Canada. There are Muslims that ran for their lives as refugees into this country from the people who are here today. And those people here today are not only risking the lives of these refugees, but risking the lives of all of the other Canadian citizens that are here today. Anybody that doesn't sympathize with Palestine, anybody who is Christian, anybody who is Jewish, obviously, and anybody who is an anarchist or antichrist or anything that doesn't believe in any type of religion. Anybody. The definition is called infidel. And they are very keen on making sure infidels are removed so that they could be peace on earth and one peaceful religion. Because with that means that you and I, regardless of who you are, is considered an infidel according to their measures. You must realize that they will kill you and they will hurt you, and they are ready to do so. The attack that they did on Montreal last night was not a usual attack. This attack had them all masked to the greatness. Each one of them were so covered in their faces because they knew what they were going to do was aggressive. They knew what they were going to do was horrible, and they brought weapons. Not only did they set a little boy's car on fire with him inside it, but they were smashing people with hammers. Not only that, but they used fireworks as bazookas. Legitimately. I mean, what a pretty bomb. But they did it. And they're ready to do it again, and again, and again. Who got caught in the way at the wrong time. Do you want your kid caught in the wrong time? Now, we do not know who exactly these protesters were last night because they had their masks on in their faces. However, some of them have cars that were tagged and got to go home and know exactly where they went last night. Some of them are under investigation by the people of the people. You have to understand, when the police decide that they're not going to do something, Miss Valerie Laplante, I hope one day you get to hear this, that the people of the people will. And in remembrance of Je me suis bien and the Hells Angels North, and the remembrance of the Bloods and the Crips, and remembrance of the Haitians, you have to understand that organization is always a key factor. And it just so happens that if no one is going to defend the people, then I guess they will want to keep the people safe, because regardless of you, now you know the system has absolutely failed the citizens of the people of Canada when organized crime has to come back in our streets and protect the citizens of Canada from terrorist attacks. You have to realize that when one side turns a blind eye, the other side is looking. And that is the very definition of lifestyle theory. I'm not about to bring you a scientific approach. However, these are the situations that can happen. At that, it is up to us, the people, to prevent that entirely by, as people, saying no, by preventing these actions. All of the actions. We do not want any type of terrorism in our country. We do not want our kids to be inflicted, to be burnt alive in cars. We do not want them to want to kill themselves for going to a gym. We do not want them to be segregated at all costs. But it seems that this is happening today. These are not our children. Our children are being affected. These are real terrorists who are hanging out with our children being affected. You don't have to be aggressive like these terrorists are. You know where they live. They're your neighbors. They are promoting the flags. You see them leave at night and come back at 4 a.m. during these protest hours. You know who they are, especially in Laval. You know exactly who you are. And when you are going to be around these type of people during the day versus night, you have to realize that they are ready and waiting for one more call to action. And that call to action comes from the jihad. As a matter of fact, that call to action went from Mississauga to Montreal in just one short week. And in that one short week, we now have this situation here today. You have to realize that that situation was called from an imam in Calgary. And that imam spread his news to Mississauga and then here to Montreal. I am asking you to please protect each other. Hold these people accountable. Stop the Palestinian movement before it comes into your house, because it's about to come into your house. You have to realize that these kids are ready, set, and practicing. I need you guys to take a serious look. If you do not understand because you are not educated on such organizations, then I need you to be quiet, hold your brain silent, and educate yourselves. Because your opinion is uneducated, and your loud opinion is going to get your children killed. This is not a drill. This is a serious, serious message, and it is affecting all of us, including every single Muslim refugee that came here for real causes and issues from these jihad that are here today. I understand that you don't like genocide. I don't like genocide. And it's very, very ironic and interesting to me when we call out death to an entire country and an entire race of people while we're saying that we are against genocide, when that is in fact the very definition of genocide. If you say death to Jews, death to Israel, that is an entire race and a country. They are not saying death to all Muslims. They're not saying death to all Palestinians, but they are saying death to all of Hamas, and we will raise your children for you in a much more peaceful environment. You have to understand that you probably did not watch the videos that Hamas had pointed out themselves as reward, as trophy. And I could describe to you very, very brief instances of what had happened. Instagram influencer who came from Paris went into the rave that was in Israel. This girl was mutilated publicly on camera. After she was mutilated publicly on camera, they had decided to take her body that was hanging in pieces and throw it into a truck. Hundreds of Gazan men swarmed the streets, started spitting on her, she was already dead. Kicking her body, she was already dead. The thing was, she was not from Israel. She was from Paris. You have to realize that that is a disgusting thing. So Canadians, what would you do if that happened here in Canada? What would you do if that happened here in Canada? Would you be supporting the people that cut off your head? Would you be supporting the people that tortured this Paris girl and then it's worse. It's the part where they started spitting on her in the street and recorded it. That's the thing. This is on, you could look it up on Google today. The videos are up. That's the thing. It's not a joke. So what would you do in that case? I'm not sympathizing with Israel. I'm sympathizing with Canada because we seem to have the very same people that are supporting those causes, supporting those methodizations, here today burning 17-year-olds in cars. Think about it. Enough. Have been set up in Canada in the past year and a half. I need you to look up how many were prevented. Understand that we cannot prevent all of them. Understand that they are growing. I support the real Muslim refugees. I support the Salahadins and the Tarsins, and I support the real refugees, the real Mohammeds and the real people that, the little Diryas in life. I support the real refugees that came here hiding from these men that are here today influencing your children. And it is up to you to defend your children. It is up to you to prevent what is happening next. Because what is happening next is not a peaceful protest. The last peaceful protest that Canada saw is 2 weeks ago, and we will not ever see another peaceful one like that again. They are on the next step. They set their call to action, and everybody had heard it except the RCMP. We need to understand how serious this is. That's it.